started off with call center, being from a middle class background. In 2012, because I joined a startup with 4 or 5 people, I switched from equity all into debt. So the Corpus was 40 times your expenditure.
And how much was that amount?
Point number was about 6.5 crores. So when we did that, the business did really well, and my income went up from 36 lakhs. It went up by about 5-6 times.
Hi, Kaustuban. We would like to start with your background, your family background, to your career span.
I've been working from 2004, so that makes it about 2 decades. First part of my career, 2004 to 2012, I was in large corporates. So in fact, I started off in a call center, 2004 to 2005. For 1 year, I worked in a call center, basically selling credit cards to the people in the US. Then ICICI Prudential Life Insurance, basically dealing with financial advisors and financial distributors, meeting them and asking them to basically sell ICICI Prudential insurance products. Then I was in Reliance Mutual Fund, so insurance, mutual funds, and then post that I joined a startup which was like a 5 people or 4 people company when I joined. Then worked in that company for about 6-7 years. When I joined that, I always wanted to start a business, being from a middle class background. I thought, how does a middle class guy get into business or start a business? So that was a fascinating thing for me. So met various people over the last span of my large company career, working in large corporates and startups. 2018, I transitioned into starting my own business.
So in 2018, as you said that you transitioned to business, and in 2018 you were financially free. But I would like to go back and want to understand about your career growth. Like when you started with a call center job, then how much were you earning and how your salary increased over a period of a time?
So 2004, when I started, at that point in time, my salary was 8,000 rupees. That was my first job. In 1 year, I wanted to shift to regular day job. And I joined ICICI Prudential Life Insurance. So what had happened was 2003-04, when I was in college, second year, my dad had expired. Normally, people have some advice from, someone who's telling you what to do in your career, right? When I did well in this ICICI Prudential for about 6 months, I got like 3-4 offers. So I think I switched about 4-5 jobs in about 2 years, which was not the right thing, obviously. But then from 8,000, somebody paid 15,000. I would switch the job. Then 15,000 to 20,000, I would again switch the job. So in 2 years, I switched like 5-6 jobs. After 2-3 years, in 2007, I said, probably I should do an MBA. So 2007 to 9, I was in Bombay. I got into Reliance Mutual Fund. The base was in Bangalore. 28,000 rupees was my salary at that point. 2009. And then 3 years I worked in the mutual fund industry, and that went on well for about 3 years. So one of my mentors and advisors, I saw him actually in 1983. He was a branch manager, let's say, or a sales representative in a company. Then he went on to become Sriram Group CEO. So I just tracked back and said, he joined that company. I also need to join a company which is very small. So I joined a company. I was looking for a company which was like 4 or 5 people or lesser than that. When I joined the startup, my salary was 8 lakhs. And luckily that company did well. I was globally heading business for that. And over there, the salary trajectory was pretty good. So 2018, I kind of reached a phase where I said, I have sufficient money to not worry about the monthly inflow. So 2018, I switched into starting a business. And then again in business, the first 3 years were pretty slow in terms of, I didn't even earn not even 5% of what I was earning in a salaried job. I was not earning for the first 3 years. Thankfully, slowly the businesses started doing well. I mean, I wouldn't say we've reached where we want, but then we are in the phase of building all the businesses just from the, yeah.
And in that, you were saving or not?
I was saving.
How was the breakdown of like
50%, 40-50% I was saving.
When you joined a startup, you were earning around 8 lakhs per year.
Yeah.
And you became financially free in 2018.
2018, yeah.
So what happened in those 4-5 years period? Please
So I was reporting to the CEO of the firm with 5 people, chairman and CEO of the firm. That company was into fractional real estate investing, and that business grew disproportionately over a 5-6 year period. So in a 2 year period, it was from 8 lakhs to 36 lakhs. One point in time where over a 4 year period, we had set up the business across 440 cities across the globe. And I was basically going all over the place, from Chennai to Trichy to Madurai to Ahmedabad to Bombay to London, Dubai, Singapore. So we were basically on the road in all of these places, right? So when we did that, the business did really well. And my income went up from 36 lakhs, it went up by about 5-6 times again once. But my lifestyle hadn't changed a lot. Right, my expenditure remained at 1 lakh for a very long time, 80,000, 1 lakh, and I didn't take on any debt.
You were saving in which instruments?
Mutual funds.
What,
completely.
like large cap, mid cap, small cap?
Large cap, mid cap, and small cap, all three, and multi cap also. The initial phase, because you know about so many mutual funds, because you are in the mutual fund industry. In my case, I used to invest that, let's say I saved 20,000 rupees. Those used to go into 10, 12, 15 funds all over the place, right? Ideally, now I know 5 funds are enough. But then I used to think diversify. In fact, I was this conservative that I thought I should, when I had 8 lakh rupees, I had invested 2 lakhs in 4 different banks. What if the bank closes? That was the thought process at that point, that conservative in terms of the thought process, right?
Yeah.
In 2012, because I joined a startup with 4 or 5 people, I switched from equity all into debt at that point in time, almost 80-90%. The reason why I did that was I switched to debt mutual funds and so on and so forth because my career became the equity. See, why would I invest in equity mutual funds when I'm working in large companies or when I'm in a safe job, so to say? The reason is my career is growing at 15%, 12%, 10%. I need my money to grow at a very fast rate, which is why I was investing in equities and equity mutual funds. Now, my career seems like it will grow at a very fast pace, but it is also uncertain. That was my thought process at that point in time.
So what was the approximate return, if you could share?
Yeah, 18% was been the returns. 16 to 18% around that.
2008-9, you were investing around 20,000 per month.
Yeah.
And you made like 16 to 18% return.
Yeah,
Then obviously it would have been a great corpus.
Yeah.
What do you think, as of now, if someone is thinking to invest in mutual funds, how many mutual funds one should hold?
I think it is good for one to track what they're investing in. If you invest in 15, 20, it even becomes hard to track what is happening and what is not happening. So ideally, keep it to, not more than 5 to 10. I would say 5 is enough, not more than 5 to 10 because it becomes too much to track.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So when you look into the mutual funds, what are important factors you look into?
So in the initial phase, look at large size funds, look at funds which have a track record, at least 10, 15, 20 years, and look at who the fund managers are. You don't want to invest in a fund where every 2 years the fund manager keeps switching. Probably you want a stable fund manager who's been there for a while. So you invest in those funds. See, when one picks 5 or 8 funds, it is bound to happen that 2 funds underperform.
Yeah.
There will be 3, 4 funds that perform really well, and 2 funds are average. So this will be the ratio. So in general, that's why you're picking 5 to 8, and then you just keep your fingers crossed and hope that happens.
Perfect. Yeah. So when you retired, how much corpus you have accumulated till that point?
So let me call it financial freedom, not retirement, because I just wanted the freedom, not the retire and sit at home and do nothing, right? Although I did that for a couple of years and it was extremely boring. The first year was good fun, the second year was not that much fun. So the corpus was, 40 times your expenditure. So
and how much was that amount?
About at that point, it was about 6.5 crores. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
How did you allocate that money?
So almost 5 to 10% is only in equity, 30, 40, 50% into real estate, 30 to 50%, and then the balance is into debt mutual funds, FDs, all debt. Completely debt.
I think in equity, when it comes to, so you have like a mix of large cap, mid cap, and small cap.
Yes.
And when it comes to debt, how do you select debt? Because there has been like few cases regarding the debt mutual funds. There was a huge case of Franklin that actually about to, those funds about to shut down. There were like a lot of problems over there. So what all important metrics you look into when you select debt mutual funds? Because there are a lot of debt mutual funds.
Absolutely. I think one thing is I don't invest in any debt fund which has like a huge credit risk. I am okay with a lower return. The reason why I'm investing in debt is one is it is debt mutual funds is it's tax efficient, but I don't want 11, 12, 13% return out of it, right? Then I'll have to take risks. So I'm not investing in FDs which are giving 11, 12. I'm not doing that. I'm investing in 8%, 9% type of returns only. So I'm as an investor and as a general individual, I'm conservative when it comes to my investments. So I pick only conservative funds. In fact, the wealth management, the mutual fund distribution firm that I've invested in, so he's a certified financial planner. Oh. So I think I let those decisions to be taken by a certified financial planner instead of me taking those decisions because I can't keep track of 1,000 funds that are there. It's virtually impossible. That's a job. That's a separate job. I don't get involved in that. Yeah, makes sense.
So right now you said about credit risk you look into. How did you get to know? Like how did you decide this fund has taken more credit risk and this fund is?
So you have something called the fact sheet in every mutual fund, and when you hear all these fund managers talk and all of that, and you have fact sheets, you'll know what are the calls that they're taking. Based on that, you take a call and accordingly invest.
So right now, as you said, your 2018 corpus is more into debt. But when we go back from 2015 to 2018, so you've been investing, then how, at that point in time, how do you invest? Like at that time, I think equity portion was a little higher.
Yeah, equity was higher. Yes, equity was higher. 2012, it was 80%. 2015, it went down to, let's say, 40-50% because I knew I was going to start a business. So I reduced my equity exposure. Then it went into debt. And also I used to invest in property. So I was already fascinated by property from 2010-12. So every weekend I would go out, check properties. And I'd read a few books which were like few businessmen who had done real estate business in the US. I had read those books and stuff like that. So I wanted to do a few real estate deals. So if you look at 100 properties, go physically visit 100 properties, there's a probability that you'll get one distressed property. Meaning that somebody wants to sell in a hurry. Or somebody is going abroad, or they have heavy loans, they just want to give it away. In my case, they were shifting from this country to the other country and they just want to liquidate anything that they have. So you get properties that are 30-40% discounted from market price. So I bought 2-3 properties like that, one after the other, not at the same time, because I didn't have that much funds to buy parallel multiple properties. Because of the price becoming so low, and Bangalore in general, there are certain areas which are the IT dominated, the rental yields are very high. Generally, only it is 4-5%, but when you buy it at this discounted price, it becomes 9-10% because of the discount that you're buying it. So those were very good deals. So like this, there were 3-4 properties that were flipped, which in turn created some amount of wealth. In fact, right now we do that as one of our businesses is that where we find properties which are slightly below market price and try to advise our clients to invest and we invest.
Okay, got it. So coming to this real estate part, a lot of people used to think that real estate is not a good investment option. What's your take on this?
So they always say as far as any investment, it is never about the investment, it is about the investor. It is about how much the investor knows. Real estate, when you have data and you've been trained for a 10-15 year period, based on the training, if you can pick up these properties at 30-40% discount, if you have the patience. So if I go check online at 99 acres or NoBroker or any of these websites and then go buy a property based on what is written there, then it might not be a great investment. But if you're able to filter down, do your research and then invest in property at the right price with the right kind of funding, I think then real estate can be good.
So how many real estate properties do you hold right now?
Right now I hold only 2 properties. So in fact I live in a rented house in the central Bangalore, and then I've rented out the 2 here. And then we also have a managed farmland business for about 60 acres of agricultural land. So that is another property that I loan in probably in the next 1-2 weeks. So that is a business that we are doing, the managed farmland business.
So what's the residential yield?
So because I bought them at a 30-40% discounted price at that point in time, the yields are around 9-10%.
Wow.
Yeah. Because it was bought at a discounted price.
So how much was your rental income that was coming into?
Close to about 1 lakh.
Both the properties?
Both the properties, yeah.
Okay. What's an advice to you if someone wants to achieve financial freedom like before 40? How should they go about it?
See, you're young, what do you want to do? You want to travel, you want to buy your bikes, you want to buy your cars, you want to buy your house, then you want to also save money. So these are all important, right? But then whatever you're saving, ideally in the initial phase, plan it on all liquid investments, which you can liquidate in 3 to 5 days. So when I say liquid investments, in my case, it was mutual funds, heavy on mutual funds, equity mutual funds, because that's where you can get double-digit returns, 12 to 15% type of returns over a period of time. And the last 4 years have been 20, 22, 25%. There have been years with 40%, but in general, 12 to 15% over a period of time is sustainable. And then once the corpus is built, I think then diversify into real estate and debt mutual funds and so on and so forth over a period of time. Sometimes what can be a mistake is generally what I've seen is people probably, if I can buy let's say if someone can buy a 10 lakh car, they go and buy a 30 lakh car. I think those mistakes are huge, so don't do. I mean, it's okay to go on instead of a 20,000 holiday, going for a 50,000 holiday doesn't cost much because it is only 30,000. But instead of buying a 10 lakh car, a 30 lakh car is a 20 lakh difference. Don't make mistakes in crores and lakhs. Make mistakes in thousands, or in fact not make mistakes. Enjoy your thousands, 10,000s and 20,000s, enjoy there, but don't make these large mistakes just because your peers are doing stuff which are like, I mean, you don't know their family background, right? Somebody's parents might be very wealthy, which is why that guy is able to buy a 2 crore house or a 30 lakh car. If my family background is not there, in fact, till 2015-16, I was riding a 2-wheeler. I didn't have a car, right? So I realized my entire team who was reporting to me had cars. Then I was working, I was in the flow in the work. Then I switched to a car, which was a second-hand car after that. So you want to balance it out and then plan.
Okay, let's assume if someone is earning 1 lakh per month salary, according to you, how should they allocate their expenses to make sure they become financially free sooner? Or do you think in this income, a person can become financially free or not? Or should they work on increasing their income?
So I think at any income, people can become financially free. So there's this, I think if you Google, there's this chart. If one saves, I think 70 or 80% of their income, or even 50% of their income, they become financially free in 15 years. So I'm not saying save when you're earning 30,000 rupees. It's very hard to save 50%. You'll almost spend the entire amount of money. But as and when your income grows, be aware you have funds allocated for fun, and then after that save also, because that's when you'll enjoy financial freedom. So financial freedom is not about quitting your job, right? It's about having your job. The day you don't like your job, you quit your job, right? So it helps in that way. So I would say at any income people can retire, let alone 1 lakh, even a income lower than that people can retire. So because I've seen examples where people earn 4-5 lakh rupees, but if you ask them for the entire net worth, for instance, it'll be minus 20 lakh rupees. Their monthly expenditure is 5 lakhs or 5.5 lakhs with credit card debt. They are never going to be financially free. But a person earning 60,000 or 70,000, saving 20,000 is way more financially free than the other person. Yeah. So it all depends on what is the income, what is the expenditure, how content are you with your income. I think it is more that than...
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So what do you think, like, how's the life after financial freedom?
See, one of the things is first 1 year, I took a break of a couple of years after that point in time. First 6 months, 1 year is good fun because you've been working for 15, 17 years only thinking of, your day-to-day work. So it was good fun to take that break. Also, there's nothing like active source of income. So your mind also plays trick because you need active source of income. How much ever you save, you need this active source of income, right? And being from a lower middle class background, you're always, your entire life is attached to how well you're doing in your career, more often than not, right? So financial freedom has been good, yes, no doubts about it. So in 1-2 years I switched back into business and I said I wanted to start a business. So there is this thing, right? One side you are extremely content with this whatever you have. The other side you are aggressive in terms of wanting to build your business, working from morning to night, building that. So I think it's a kind of a good combination where you're working on what you want and at the same time you're very content with what you have. But then if you do this well, automatically you might get more money as well, more funds as well. But then I don't think that equates to your happiness. But then creating something on your own, creating a brand on your own, I think that's where the happiness lies.
Pawan, thank you so much. It was great talking to you.
Likewise.